folks. Welcome to Camiguin Island, Philippines. And I'm going to talk about my electronics problems here in the Philippines, but I'm going to make some statements about electronics in the Philippines in general. For one thing, electronics are a lot more expensive in the Philippines. And why the Philippines has put high tariffs on electronic imports into the Philippines is a question I really can't answer. I have no idea why they're doing it. Usually the way I understand tariffs is if a country has an industry that foreign imports are threatening that industry, then they'll put tariffs on that product or those products in order to protect the industry that exists within the country that's putting the tariffs. But the Philippines doesn't really have an electronics industry. Uh, they make very little electronics in this country. There's probably some, but there's really not much to speak of. Most of the electronics in the world really is made in China. And so anyway, electronics is a lot more expensive in the Philippines, and I think they're really making a mistake by doing that, because if they were less expensive, then industries and businesses could grow faster because they could afford to buy those things. Now, that includes things like cameras, cell phones, computers, and all the rest of those electronic things are a lot more expensive in the Philippines. And it really makes it hard for me to understand. Anyway, the point I'm trying to get across here is I've been living now in the Philippines pretty close to it's 2.5 years I've been here. Maybe even almost 3. I guess it's 3 years. Although I did go back for a couple of weeks about a year ago, or 2 years ago. Anyway, so a lot of my electronic stuff is breaking down over here, and it's first one of my cameras broke down. It just got worn out. I've been using that camera for a long time, and it got worn out. And then another one of my cameras broke down. It won't work at all anymore. It was an expensive camera, and so now I'm left with my wife's camera that I'm using right now, and I even bought a camera thinking that maybe I could use it until I could get something better, and it turned out to be unusable. And I spent the equivalent of $100 US on that camera, and it is a piece of complete garbage. Anyway, since my wife and daughter have gone back to the United States, they're gonna get me a camera. Well, my computer has been going downhill in a hurry, and a quick hurry. About 6 months ago, the keyboard started to act up, and now it doesn't work very well anymore. Now, I have a USB keyboard that I've plugged in so I can use it. And then, another thing that happened, and this has been coming on gradually, is my card reader for SD cards no longer works. And I can get the videos onto my computer using a different method by plugging the camera directly into the USB port. But I can't take the card out of the camera and just pop it into the computer like I used to be able to do. And then my speakers, technically they still work, but one of the speakers has a tear in it, so that, you know, it buzzes, and it makes it not only annoying but very difficult to hear anything with that speaker buzzing. So I had to what I did is I bought a Bluetooth speaker, and I'm using that now, and it works, but you know, it's not really all that reliable. Sometimes it'll work and sometimes it won't. And I have to reinstall it, and then it'll work for a while, and then for reasons that aren't clear to me, it'll stop working. And I guess that that device is really made for cell phones, so that people can play their music off of their cell phone without having to use earbuds. So, and you know, that thing cost me the equivalent of $15. You know, that's not a lot of money, but you know, it starts to add up, and you know, I'm concerned that my keyboard is going to crap out completely. Now, back in the olden days, I have replaced computer keyboards before, but on this computer, this laptop that I bought, you know, I looked into replacing the keyboard, and they've made it so that it's really not doable. You know, the keyboard isn't screwed on with small screws. It's just held in place with plastic tabs. And in order to get the keyboard off, you have to break those tabs, meaning that you can't really put another one in. And I have seen people do it, you know, on YouTube videos, but they tape the keyboard into place, which doesn't really seem all that good to me. So, you know, I don't want to do it. And, you know, the speakers, I could probably get some speakers and then solder some new ones in. But, you know, even if I get all that done and it's all good, the battery on my computer isn't owner replaceable. You really should be a technician in order to just even replace the battery. So, you know, I guess Asus had planned to make this thing as what's the word they use? You know, obsolete in a couple of years, and you're going to replace it. You're not going to fix it, because they've done so many things that make it so that you can't just patch it up and keep going. You know, they've made a lot of things that just make it really impossible. So anyway, you know, my daughter is in the United States, and she comes back, she'll be bringing me another camera and another computer. But you know, none of that would be necessary if I could get uh, what I want here in the Philippines for a decent price. But I can't, because that's the other thing is, you know, you don't have the you don't have, you know, all the different computers to choose from. You know, you have to go usually. I mean, they do have a thing called Lazada here in the Philippines, which is it's similar in some ways to Amazon, and you can get a bunch of different computers and stuff from there, and get it shipped to your house. But you can't just go to Fry's Electronics here in the Philippines and just pick up what you want. And you know, I would buy it on Lazada also, but it's still more expensive than I wish it would be. So, so that's the story. You know, there's problems with electronics here in the Philippines, and stuff really does seem to break down more quickly over here, probably because of the heat and humidity. It really seems to break down a lot more quickly. Anyway, that's really all I'm going to talk about in this video. You know, I thought I was all set when I first came here. I had a fairly new laptop computer that did pretty much everything I wanted, and I had 2 decent cameras, plus I have my little action cam, and I thought I was all set, but I really wasn't. You know, things just started breaking, and now they got to get replaced. So that's about it. Thanks for watching. Please like this video. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed. Please share the video, and please also thumbs up.